Hi, everyone. It's Stephen Bloomer-Teague here alongside.
Wendy Stuart Kaplan. We're from TriVersity, and we are here with the most exciting news for you today. Tell them, Stephen.
Well, we are starting a brand new series called TriVersity Talks, where we find and interview people in our community who are making a difference, who are changing lives. And Wendy,
And who
tell
are
us about
really
who
cool.
what's that?
Who are really cool.
Amen.
Now we are on the cutting edge here at our new show, and we have a really incredible guest today. We have Royal Parker from Black Lives Matter, and we are very excited. Royal is our first guest.
I
I
know.
don't know
That's
if he even
amazing.
knows that. Oh my gosh.
So where did you meet Royal?
So I met Royal at the Black Lives Matter march in, believe it or not, Milford, Pennsylvania. And Stephen, I have to tell you, the coolest thing, these marches are happening everywhere in the country. Actually, these marches are happening everywhere in the world. Okay, but right here in Milford, Pennsylvania, we had a wonderful turnout. It was a very successful march, and Royal was such an impressive speaker to me that I ran up to him after the march was over, and I said, "Oh my gosh, we're starting a television station, and we really want to have you on our first show for TriVersity Talks." So here we are. We're making magic happen again.
I was about to say, and he agreed. That's pretty fabulous. So,
That's right.
yes. So, couldn't ask for a better first guest. I am really excited. This is taking place in just about 45 minutes.
Oh my
And
God, 45 minutes. I just looked at the clock, and we'll be live again. Okay, everybody, come back with us. Eat your lunch or whatever it is that you're doing, and or having a cocktail.
day drinking.
Join us. 2:00.
Yes, join us soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
I've been told that the fire's old, and when stars are in light that we burn, we would know. I've been told that the fire's old, and when stars are in light that we burn.
Hey, everybody. We are here from TriVersity Center, and I'm so excited today, Stephen, because this is our first broadcast with our new YouTube channel called TriVersity Talks.
Yes, I mean, we're going to be on both Facebook Live and YouTube doing TriVersity Talks. On YouTube right now, this is not streaming live. It's going private because our head of trans services, Samantha Spillane, is actually going to give us like an intro and outro. And so she's going to really polish this up. But
She's going to make it fancy. She's going to make it all fancy for us, right?
This was Samantha's kind of brainchild. So we're very happy to be taking this on and glad that she's going to continue to help us make this even better. But yeah, so she's all ready to make this really polished. But I figure it's always great to do a live interview too, so people can see.
Yeah, we like things, we're TriVersity. We always say our TriVersity family, and definitely polished, but I also like the homegrown attitude of our organization and the people that work with us. And I want to give a special thank you, Samantha. You and I haven't seen each other too much lately, but thank you so much for coming up with this idea. I know everybody is so grateful for it. And oh my God, have we got a show for you today? Have we got a show for you? Today we have Royal Parker, as I tell people, charismatic, from the Black Lives Matter movement. And I heard Royal speak when we were in Milford, Pennsylvania this weekend. We had a protest. Protests are happening all over the country, as you know, happening all over the world. All right, this is timely. Why is everything happening now? I want to explore this with Royal. Royal is a perfect person to talk to. And when I heard him speak, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the person that I want for the first guest on TriVersity Talks. So without much further ado, Stephen.
All right. Let's see how seamless this is. We would like
Okay.
to welcome Royal
Okay.
Parker. And there
Hey,
he
what's up?
is.
Oh my God, I'm so happy that you're there. Stephen knows how I flip out over the technology. You know, it's very Royal. It's very nerve wracking for me because I'm not a technical girl. You know, I'm just not. And there you are, and you're looking great. Welcome to TriVersity Talks.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be on here. I'm so excited.
Well, this is so great. Now, when I came running up to you at the Black Lives Matter protest in Milford, I need to know what your first impression was. You're like, who is this crazy girl?
I'm like, who's this crazy white girl talking all this stuff about how this town is so great after they just had a Blue Lives Matter rally? I need to know what she knows, because even though in spite of, stuff like that happening, a town can still be a decent area, and the fact that they had that afterwards. So I was like, I would love to know more about this place.
That's so terrific. And Royal, I think you brought out something that I do want to talk today. Black Lives Matter started with Trayvon Martin, right? That was the beginning of the whole movement. I also call it the hoodie movement, right? That's when the hoodie became such a symbolic thing. So if we go from there to then, how do you think, okay, and this is a very broad-based question, how do you think all of us can contribute into having solidarity for this movement?
Hey, everybody, Royal, not to delay you, but before we do that, we're having a little bit of technical kind of
Difficulties.
clicks and such. I don't know where those are coming from. So before you answer, Royal, I'm just going to kind of do a test and see if they go away. So it might be.
Did they go away? Yeah, they did go away.
Yeah, they did. So it might be something on your end, Royal, but we're going to keep moving forward. And if we can figure out what that is at some point, then we'll.
If you have sometimes if you have a phone on or another electronic device, listen to me. I'm talking about electronic devices. Do you have anything else on while you're there? Just your computer?
Just my phone.
Your phone. Okay, we're great. Well, we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
How do you think all of us as people can come together in solidarity for the Black Lives movement?
Okay. Before I get to that question, I do want to just talk a little bit about Trayvon Martin, because
Please.
there has been some things in my life that I won't ever forget. And that was one of those things that took me and made me understand why my grandmother, specifically my great-grandmother and my great-great-grandmother, would tell me not to wear a hood. Even though I never really grasped it, they would tell me, nobody can identify you. And I'm like, well, what are they looking for somebody like me for? Like, why would they think that I'm somebody that I'm not? I mean, why wouldn't they ask me beforehand? Why wouldn't they take my ID? Why wouldn't they do all of these things, And I never really understood, And then when Trayvon Martin was murdered by George Zimmerman and got away with it,
Got away with
I
it.
knew exactly what they were talking about. And I had thought so much had changed, because I am Trayvon Martin. Like, I'm that kid walking to the store from my house, in the rain, just trying to get a bag of Skittles and an iced tea. It changed my life forever. And I had the honor and the privilege to actually meet Trayvon Martin's mother and his brother.
Did you really? Wow. Tell us
Yes,
about
I
that.
did. Yeah, it was very emotional. It was very moving. Phenomenal woman, Sabrina Fulton, phenomenal. She's actually running for, council and stuff like that down in Florida.
Right.
I support her 100%. The charisma that woman has to still carry on in spite of all
the fact of losing her child really over a hoodie. I mean, I think, when you and I were talking, that, the hoodie epiphany, I call it, right? I'm a white person, right? I put on a hoodie. I don't think twice. To me, a hoodie's a sweatshirt. I didn't think, I never thought about the hoodie, all right, until it came up and he was wearing a hoodie. You murder somebody over a hoodie. And then I had somebody I work with, and I think I told you this story. Brilliant kid, graduated with honors, beautiful son. And she said she worries about him. I'm like, why are you worried about him? He's like, he had a rocking job, really everything perfect, right? And she said, well, I worry about him going out with a hoodie on. And I have a daughter, right? See, a white person would never think about that, would never think about the hoodie thing. And wow, that became, right? And you'll agree with me on this,
Yeah.
symbolic of the movement. That
Yeah,
was,
it did. Yeah, it definitely did, you know, and for George Zimmerman not even to be a police officer, but a neighborhood watch, was even more concerning. I didn't, it really was a tragedy, you know, for that to happen. But I always say, you know, I feel like things like this have to happen, and then they're going to keep happening until things change.
right.
Because the fact is, you know, if Trayvon Martin didn't die, Black Lives Matters wouldn't have started. You know, even if he was only injured, the value of a black body seems so less than still. Like
Yes.
they're
Yeah.
dehumanizing the fact that even if somebody were to get beat, that,
Right.
oh well, they didn't die. You know, like really, he's in the hospital, he's beat to almost to a bloody pulp. But if he hadn't have died, then we wouldn't be here today. You know, and
Well,
um,
you brought up something just now, you know, not even, it would have been horrific whether it was a police officer or not, but it's the fact that it was like a neighborhood watch person, and this, you know, this is okay. You know, Stephen, from a legal standpoint, why they look the other way? How could that happen?
I honestly do not fully understand. It's almost in Florida, the state had to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that George Zimmerman did something wrong, despite the fact that he killed this kid with
Right.
no, you know, no basis. I mean, it was just stunning to me. I
Right.
mean,
it
when
was a
that
part of
jury
the
came
stand
down, I was
ground.
livid. Absolutely.
Right. There was no basis to it. And you know, I think in the bigger scheme of things here, we're talking about law officers getting a pass for a very long time. A very, very long
Yes, the
time. But
system was created to suppress and oppress black people, though. You know, that's pretty much how the policing happened. If you go back to, you know, when we had Jim Crow laws and
yes.
black codes and things of that nature, that's where the police came from. You know, they pretty much were designated to go and arrest some 800,000, I think it was, back when it first happened, blacks, so that we could be labeled as the stereotypical criminal just for the color of our skin. They
Right.
mass incarcerate us still to this day at a higher rate than
That
any
is
other
true.
ethnic. Yes, yes. It's you know, so I feel like, you know, not only do we need to reform the police from the ground up, I mean, totally dismantle and
Agreed.
reform, we need to reallocate the funding. We need to take funding away from the police department.
Well, that's talking about defunding the police.
Yes, you know, I sometimes I hesitate to use that word. People take it as maybe too harsh, so I use the word reallocate now. But
Wait,
that is what I mean. I
okay,
mean,
how
we need
about
to
reallocate and how about re-educate?
I don't agree. I think
Okay,
that police
tell
were,
me your point of view.
like I said, when the police started, their job was to go and mass incarcerate black bodies. And that's where they got this stuff from. So that's where their foundation is. They are founded on the facts and the beliefs that blacks are criminals, that blacks are the thugs, that blacks are the ones creating the crimes, when in fact, you know, it's not just black people creating crimes.
Of
You know,
course.
it's all kinds of people out there, especially the ones who have these high profile jobs and are looting and laundering money and taking from, you know, the poor and not giving back, you know,
And getting away with it.
and
Let's talk about
getting
that.
right
Right.
away with it. Yeah. So
Right.
yeah, I think reallocating the funds, defunding the police, reforming from the ground up, so totally dismantling. I think that cops shouldn't be having police weapons. I don't think cops should have guns. I don't think cops should use dogs. I don't think cops should use horses. That's animal cruelty. It's traumatizing the way these dogs and these horses are just kind of machined to do these things, and it's not fair for them and it's not right for us.
So with this, with what you've laid out, right? Let's talk about what the perfect situation would be for you in all of this. And I want to throw something else into what we just discussed. What about the black cops, right? There's tons of police officers that are black. How do you see them fitting into this? And how do you see in your idea of how things should be, what do you see building from all of this if you could create it?
Well, my thing is, I don't really care for what color a police officer is, rather than if he's a good cop or a bad cop.
Right.
I've heard about an incident where in Buffalo they fired a police female captain who was black for stopping somebody from a restraint, a chokehold, and they fired her. And so I feel like there's an issue within the police society of turning the blind eye, of not crossing the blue line to police somebody up, and then even when you do, you're looked at as somebody who's a traitor, like you're not
Right.
trying to stand up for the right thing. As a person of color, I've also served in the United States Army, and that's also something that a lot of people would look at and say, well, why are you going to serve your country if your country doesn't serve you? If they don't look at you like as you are a valuable person, why would you serve somebody that doesn't serve you? But I do it for the right reasons. If you're going to do things, do them for the right reasons, because you want to bring some balance to the things that are going on. If I could see things go like, how I want them to be, it would definitely be total accountability. Breonna Taylor.
Okay, I'm so there just in general. Right, total accountability.
Total
So
accountability.
you feel like, people are literally getting away with murder because there isn't accountability. We'll go back to George Zimmerman, right? Stephen, you said it. He didn't have to be accountable. He wasn't held accountable. He was allowed to shoot Trayvon Martin and get away with it. So do you think, Royal, that it's a matter of, and this is Stephen's department, getting laws changed on top of everything else? How are we going to do this?
Yes,
how are we going to create this accountability?
Yes, I think that laws need to be changed. From what I can remember from the Trayvon Martin case was that Florida has this law called Stand Your Ground. And even though the 911 operator told him, do not engage, do not follow him, he felt as though that he was threatened. And that's kind of what I've been getting from some police officers that I've had discussions with about Rashad Brooks. If he ran away and the taser isn't lethal force, then why did they have to shoot him multiple times?
That's what I don't understand. It's just, and it seems like they keep upping the ante. You're right. In a perfect storm, to me, use the taser, right? Why kill somebody? Unless, of course, if they're holding people hostage, no matter what color they are, if they're holding people hostage, then you have to move in with brute force. But why aren't tasers being used?
Right. I feel like they feel that they're threatened. America's always had to have a boogeyman, somebody who is out there trying to take things from them, trying to make them feel less than, and it's out of fear. To me, it's a fear-based concept that they're scared. Mostly white people are scared, white men included. They're scared that they're going to be wiped out, like their race is going to go, underneath as second rate, when in fact, and I've had people tell me, oh, well, why are you so radical? The fact that you think that I'm being radical because I'm saying Black Lives Matter, I always ask them, tell me a time when Black lives have mattered in this country. Then they don't have an answer because they haven't. So the fact that I'm standing up for what's right seems radical to them, makes me realize where their mindset really is. They're scared.
Well, it's a mindset, and you brought out something, even with police and going back to Jim Crow. It's a mindset. It's set from way back then. Okay, fast forward to now. I guess for me, as a white person, when Obama became president, I'm really like, and I'm like rose-colored glasses person. Obama became president, and I thought, oh, this is amazing. Our country is going to come together. We're going to really see things change. Anyone that felt oppressed before is now going to be validated, and they can move ahead. And this is also great. Tell me, Royal, why didn't that happen?
It only brought people more divided, just like
Right.
Donald Trump is doing today. Once again, the white man thinks that he's going to be wiped out. He thinks that his race is going to somehow not prevail and be washed out by blacks and brown people. so when Obama got into office, it was a statement that, you know, we are here and that this is possible. And then that's when they went in and had to find ways to make it so that, you know, they too are still able to get some type of justification, you know, some type of
course,
publicity, some type of unity between their sectors. When in fact, Obama's just trying to bring, and as I am too, Black Lives Matter, you know, people like myself, we're just trying to bring equality and unity with all humans, you know.
Well, I think you saw when you did the march in Milford. Yeah, we are, you know, predominantly Caucasian community there. You know, a weekender community, a full-timer community. To me, in many ways, we're a slice of America, but we're a slice of white America. But I think you saw the solidarity, and I was so proud of our town because every person that was there, Roy, was supporting you. All right, was supporting what happened to George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, okay, the wrong. And we proudly marched through our town. You saw some of our vendors come out. And I think it's an important thing to see and to know because there are communities and towns all over America right now that are rising up and saying, hey, we want to unify. We are giving solidarity in this. But,
Right.
okay, so, yeah.
I'm not trying to downplay, you know, what's going on. Like I said when I did my speech, you know, I'm thankful that all my allies are here. You know,
Sure,
it's about time. It's about time. My people have been marching and protesting and fighting for rights for decades, centuries. You know, we've been out here trying to get people to realize that we have been looked at as less than for so long. Like you said, back to when Trayvon Martin started, Black Lives Matter started. Even before then, we had Martin Luther King
come on, wait before then. Right.
We had Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and things like that. And you don't see such a diverse group of people. What I think is different now is finally, you know, everybody is starting to see the wrongs that are done. And it's about time.
It's about time. It's about time.
We need to be on the gas pedal, full throttle. Do not let up. Do not let up. Because like I said, don't give them an inch. They would not give me an inch.
It's very interesting. I kind of got some insight that at the town or at the borough council level when it was brought up that they wanted to do the Black Lives Matter march that you spoke at. Some people on the council were like, well, why are we doing this again? You know, because we had outside the courthouse a couple of weeks before, we had a little rally. And it was like, well, why is this happening again? I mean, what would you say to someone, Royal, who brought up that question?
I would say, why not let it happen again? It's bringing the community together. It's for a good cause. It's for justice for all. It's really bringing out the best in people. We're out there protesting. I don't like to put peaceful in front of protesting because protesting is peaceful. There's a difference between protesting, rioting, and looting. These are all different things. So I protest, and it's a peaceful thing. It's a good thing that people are coming out and having these conversations and making these, you know, connections with people who maybe they wouldn't see if they were to go to the store and say, you know, oh, well, you know, like, you know why they're there. People are there and they're in support of the same thing. It's like going to church.
Right.
You all get to be chanting and having the same conversation. You know, we all get that feeling, and it really gets you wanting to do more for the community.
So, Royal, another thing you said when you first came on, you talked about when Wendy said Milford's a great community, and you mentioned that there was a Blue Lives Matter rally right before. I was wondering, what do you say to someone when they say something like All Lives Matter or Blue Lives Matter?
Right.
You know, I've had to be real tolerant lately because a lot of the times when somebody says that, I would shut it down. But as a leader and as somebody who has a voice, you know, and I know what I'm talking about, I just simply say, tell me a time when Black lives have mattered in this country, and they cannot. Because it goes back to the time of history when they colonized and tried to genocide Black and brown bodies. We've been looked at as less than. So that's what I say to that. Tell me a time when Black lives have mattered in this country. And if they try to say Obama, then I clearly say to them, I would probably laugh, but then I would just say that's not saying that Black Lives Matter. He's one
Right.
person, and look how they treated him. Then I go and I dig out the facts of how they tried to get him to pull out his birth certificate, but yet we still don't have this president's taxes.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's like so true. So, what do you think now? This is something I've thought of a lot. I'm going to put a couple of things together here. The pandemic starts. Okay. George Floyd gets suffocated to death. All right. And then the world erupts in Black Lives Matter. So, I'm not talking here in the United States. It is happening. This is a movement that is happening worldwide. Why do you think this is all happening now?
You know, I'm not sure. Like, I really don't know. You know, I try not to question my higher power, to whom I call God, on why
Right.
things are happening when they're happening. I'm just so glad that it's happening. I'm so thankful that, like I said, we've been doing this for a very long time. You know, my people have been out there protesting, marching, trying to get people to realize the oppression of a Black person and Black bodies and things like that. And finally, we are here, and people have woken up and noticed the injustice all across the world towards people like myself.
Across the world. And I think you really hit on something for me with higher power, because I say to myself, come on, we are all like, this is all such an incredible, like, none of us could have ever envisioned this. Okay. And why is this happening now? And I guess, like you, I say at the end of the day, well, you know what? It's supposed to be happening now. This is supposed to be happening now. I think we all agree on that. So I want to get into you personally, Royal. So
Okay.
you are trans, and you served in the military. Now, had you transitioned before you got into the military?
No, I had not started my medical transition before I joined the military.
Okay.
I decided to try to join and transition in the military, but I was actually denied medical assistance by my commander and commander in chief.
And that, I'm not surprised. I mean, that's the way of it. So when you were in the military, how were you treated? Did people know what you were trying to do, or?
I would like to say that I was definitely discriminated on. Women are still looked at as less than in the military, and people of color are still looked at as different in the military. I would say that a lot of people didn't really agree with me, didn't like who I was, didn't like how I spoke out for myself and others. I was constantly put on details. I was constantly looked at to do things, whereas
you were punished.
Yeah, they call it like hazing, kind of, or constructive. Like one time, my staff sergeant tried to get me for malingering. I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Well, I just feel like you're not doing enough, and it's too bad. Like, when you're in the military and you're overseas, like I was, you don't really have outside forces to connect with. I was in South Korea for almost half the time I was in the service, so I wasn't really able to find, lawyers and go get help and try to like prosecute these people against these, things. When they hand you a piece of paper with like a claim, you don't really, they tell you to sign it. They tell you to look it over and sign it. Like, they don't give you time, or else you're just like disobeying orders. And
Of course.
It's so pressuring to just have to like succumb to doing whatever they tell you to do. It's when they say sign your life away.
But the thing is, you did it. You were able to do it. You served your full time in the military, which was how long?
I served about almost 3 years. I actually got out earlier. I didn't serve my full contract. I got out honorably, but I did not serve my full contract.
But you were there 3 years of having to, I'll try and find the right word, cope. You had to cope. How the heck did you cope with this? I'm trying to think of any one of us. What a awful situation to be in, because here you are, you're serving the United States of America, and yet you are being treated less than. How did you cope for 3 years with less than?
Well, I will say that I definitely leaned on my mother. My mother's a very strong person in my life who is very has a big faith, you know, to persevere and be resilient, and that I can overcome anything, you know, and do whatever I want with the right mind and things like that. I will say, unfortunately, even though I am clean and in recovery now, I did turn to drugs and alcohol to get through things, food addictions, you know, just pretty much anything that I could do to not feel at the time, because I was very depressed. I was suicidal, and nobody really seemed to care, you know, except for, you know, my therapist and things like that. Like my chain of command, you know, I mean, the suicide rate for people in the military is like what, 22 a day. They really need to think about how they're treating their soldiers, like, you know, in general, because they're not getting the help they need. They're not getting the attention they need. They're not getting the care. They're just looked at as a number.
So Royal, how did you pick yourself up? I mean, so, you know, you started recovery. I mean, what's it like to start that process? How did you manage?
Well, I got into support groups, AA and NA, Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, have great 12-step programs that I would suggest to anybody that is having, you know, a problem with their addiction. There's so many things that you can do, and people that are clean and sober and just living a better life, and you'd be surprised that they're actually sober. They're happy. It's like, oh, so maybe this can be a way, you know, and they give me hope. I find so much hope in those rooms, and it really helped me change my life. And I actually ended up bringing a few people in my platoon and things, you know, with me, because so many people struggled, you know, with just waking up without a drink or a drug. And I wasn't alone. And knowing that you're not alone really helps. You know, sometimes you feel like maybe you're alone and nobody knows how you're feeling. There's people out there who have been through what you've been through, or maybe something else that can identify.
Right. Well, I can only say, Ro, I'm so delighted to have you here today. You are such an inspiration on so many levels. And, you know, you've been through your recovery, you've been through the military. Let's just say you've been through it. And here you are, you're a leader. I mean, and what could be better? We need leaders right now. What we've all been saying, and I put up so many posts. I went to the march here in New York City, 3,000 people, and I put up the pictures and I said, where are our leaders? Okay, I think the time is so right for people like you. I don't know where I fit in. I'm a Dottie Do-Good. I am, and everybody knows this about me. And you know, I've been a cause person ever since I can remember, and there's a place for that, you know. But I look at somebody like you. You are so dynamic, and you are going to make such a difference out there, and that is huge.
There's definitely a place. There's a place for you in this resistance. There's a place for you in this movement. There's a place for any and everybody. I'm telling you.
I'm there, you know it.
Yeah, no, I know you're here, but you know, just you're doing work. You know, you're doing work, whether you realize it or not. Right now, you're doing work by putting me out here, by connecting with people, letting them know that you're not alone. Like, somebody might not have somebody to talk to right now, but then you're talking to them about things. You know, like, there's so much to do. You know, totally. So for anyone that doesn't think that there's something to do, talk to any one of the people that you're looking at right now, and we will have. There's a way. There's so much to do.
There's so much to do. Now, I have to ask you, do you think you're going to try and come in for the Reclaim Pride Black Lives Matter march in New York on Sunday at 1:00? It's from 1 until 5 on Sunday, and they're going to meet at Foley Square and then march up to Central Park.
I'm thinking about coming out. I really am thinking about it. To be honest, you know, I know the rate of COVID has, you know, I know it's not like really gone up or down, but no offense to people in New York City, y'all were the epicenter not too long ago. Okay, y'all were really
fair enough.
No, you know what? Listen, this is going through my mind, and you know I'm an activist, but the day I marched with 3,000 people, and I had COVID back in March, and I had the mask on. But you know what? We were not 6 feet apart. And come on, let's talk about the reality of the situation. If you've got 3,000, 5,000 people marching, that, you know, we're not going to have like the little foot squares that they put out there that we're going to be standing on. That's not going to happen. Okay, so we're all going to be I don't know, because there's the part of me that definitely knows I have to be there. And then there's the other part of me. I'm not selfish, and maybe I need to be a little selfish about this because I don't want to get sick again. If I'm sick, I can't do what it is I need to do out there. God damn, I never thought we'd be dealing with all of this, I really didn't.
And the
Black
way the
Lives
president's
Matter.
handling it, I
Right.
don't understand the way he's handling it. Like, I don't know if anybody
He's
tuned
not.
into the Tulsa rally, but people don't have to wear a mask. Now they want to talk about my body, my choice. But yeah, when Mike Pence was trying to stop women's health care, that was a big deal. Like, oh, my body, my choice wasn't an option then.
Right.
These pro-life people, he's despicable. He's disgusting. He's gross.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that were in the other party that are now feeling that way too. That enough is enough already, and we're mad as hell. We're not going to take it anymore.
That's right.
I did the primary. I voted in the primary the other day, and we got our sticker that said I voted, but I also wanted to put under mine, and I prayed. Okay, and I threw salt over my shoulder, and I danced naked with a chicken over my head.
Hey!
Because I honestly,
there you go.
It's going to take everything.
It's going to take it all. It's going to take all of that.
Roy, what would you like to tell people out there today? This is your own personal message.
Keep the faith. Keep the fight going. Don't let up. Right now is the time where if you can't get out, make phone calls. There's people out there who are still not being held accountable for their actions, and people need to hear your voice. There's people that could use donations. I sell Black Lives Matter shirts and masks, and some of my proceeds.
Tell people where they can get them. You can tell them. Tell them where can they get them.
I have a Facebook account. Royal Parker is my name. ROYAL PARKER. I have shirts and masks, and some of my money is going to donations. As of recently, I donated to Maurice Gordon and the LGBTQ Center in Newburgh because just the right thing to do. I've been getting a lot of support, and I feel like it's right to give back to those that need it.
And we think so too. And Stephen, can we on our site or some way get Royal's information so people can order
I just posted in the comments just now, actually. Royal Parker on Facebook.
Stephen is just amazing. He can do anything.
I'm incredible. I mean, it's just wonderful.
I know that's right.
But so I put that in the comments.
Thank you so much.
So it went in the comments. And I just want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, Stephen.
Absolutely. Thank you, Royal. I couldn't have asked for a better first guest. This is wonderful. We really appreciate it.
Right, that we made our maiden voyage. We lost our virginity with you today. Oh my God.
Yes. I'm a pioneer, founding father out here or something.
Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you to our audience who tuned in and listened today. Again, you'll be able to access this. We'll post a link for the YouTube, right, Stephen? The link for the YouTube.
Absolutely. Once the YouTube is finalized, we will post that link up. In the meantime, you can watch this interview. If you're missing it live, you can watch it in our videos. But presumably, if you're hearing me say this, you already know that. So
very cool. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Everyone,
thank you so much.
Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We would know.